What do we say, fam? Welcome to Simplexity, podcast and/or conversation where we take seemingly complex matters and work really hard at making them plain and simple. Sometimes we accomplish a mission and sometimes we fail. My name is Sammy Foster, joined with my co-host, the one and only Bootsy.
How's everyone doing?
I'm doing good. Nobody else can respond to that.
I'm not asking you right now.
Well, I'm speaking on everybody's behalf.
They're great. Okay. Yeah. So I'm doing well. I'm doing especially well because this is the season finale of Simplexity Season 1. Final episode, episode 10.
It's a big deal.
We made it. We survived.
I mean, it could have been one of those Netflix series where you start it, you realize quickly this is going nowhere, or it's just not engaging, whereas our listeners and viewers have voted otherwise.
Yeah.
And so we're grateful for you. I just want to say I'm grateful for you.
Quit looking at them. Yeah, it's funny because so our care pastor on staff at Lighthouse, he ran into me after we released it. Has he talked to you at all?
No, he has not.
So
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, I haven't told you this yet. I ran into him back after we released the first episode, and he was like, this is how he talks. He goes, so I listened to the first episode of Simplexity. I was like, oh, yeah? Cool. And he's like, didn't really do it for me. And I was like, fair enough. He goes, you guys have a cool banter and dynamic, but, I was like, well, thank you for that.
See him and hear him.
But to his credit, he came up to me last week and he was like, well, I listened to the Habits episode and it was really good. I was like, okay.
That's not to his credit.
Yeah.
I will credit Dave Thompson with nothing. That's to our credit.
That's to our credit. Okay. Well, now, as far as I'm concerned, he's back to zero. But
okay, amen.
That hasn't been the overall response to this podcast, fortunately.
No, it hasn't.
So we've made it to the end of season 1. We'll be taking rest of December off.
Right?
Yeah.
To plan for what we believe is going to be an epic season 2.
Indeed. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. But we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves yet because we've got today's topic to delve into, which is the long-awaited for
come on, somebody
concept of fashion. Yes. You mentioned it in our trailer that we released before episode 1 even came out, and you have been mentioning it on and off throughout all of season 1.
Now, here's the deal. Let me just say this by way of a disclaimer. I think I have overhyped this. I found that fashion would be a unique topic, all the more when it comes to matters of complexity, although it is very complex. But I referenced it because I felt like it would be a great conversation had between you and I. But when it came to really planning on this conversation, I didn't really know where I'd like to take it, and neither did you.
Well, you shouldn't
which
have
is surprising,
me.
the fashionista that you are.
Yeah, I'm more of a Maxxinista, actually.
What does that mean?
TJ Maxx. You didn't get that, really? Wow.
No. Hey, and can I just hear from our listeners? Nobody would have got that.
No, they got that.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Is that like on a commercial?
No, I heard it on the radio.
Oh, it is?
No.
Oh, it is.
It's a thing.
Oh, I didn't. Hey. Be that I don't
let
frequent
us know, please.
TJ Maxx.
I'm sorry, you're more of a Marshalls guy.
That's exactly
it's the same
right.
Thing.
No, that's a notch of.
Oh no.
I know you're going to argue it's the same thing. It is not the same thing. TJ Maxx doesn't have shoes.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't have men's shoes. No, they don't. I'd like somebody to fact check that.
Check that, please.
Let's fact
producer.
check that right now.
I've been into it. Maybe they don't all have shoes, but some of them
do. You wear ladies' shoes? That might be the big reveal here.
Surprise!
They don't.
Oh,
I know TJ Maxx. They're good on luggage.
You didn't even know what a Maxxinista was. All right. You know what? We have a little game here.
Okay. Yeah.
It is brand related, so this is related to what we were just arguing about.
I'm excited.
So I'm going to
You know who has impeccable style when it comes to fashion?
Who?
Is Dave Thompson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let's describe the quintessential Dave Thompson outfit.
Oh.
Ravens hoodie.
Yes. Brown shoes.
Or flip-flops.
Or flip-flops. With uncut toenails.
You went there. Wow.
I did. I had to.
Didn't know if you would. Yeah, that'll teach him to ever listen to our podcast again. Oh,
Slight me again.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, before you do any more damage.
Okay, all right.
The game.
I digress.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read a slogan.
Okay.
And you just got to tell me what brand this is.
Okay. This is a game of redemption.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. I won't say Maxinista because you won't get that one.
Okay. Appreciate it. Yeah. Strike that.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't know what TJ Maxx's slogan is.
I'm still waiting on the facts about the shoes.
I told you.
No, they don't have shoes.
It says that. What does it say exactly?
You can't go to tjmax.com
online. Is that what
and
you're talking
find
about?
shoes. No, in store and or online. It's loading. I know what I'm talking about.
We're gonna need to confirm this through a journalistic trip to.
We should just take Simplexity right to the floor of TJ Maxx.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
But until then, all right. Here's the slogan: Just do it.
Nike.
It's an easy one. We set them up with an easy one so that the heartbreak is a little more crushing. All right, next one. Impossible is nothing, which is dumb in my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah, that is dumb.
It's like you're trying to sound
right. Would
deep.
that be Under Armour?
No, it's Adidas.
Huh. That is
or
lame.
as you like to say,
Adidas.
Yeah. Impossible is nothing. All right.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. And then we get sued by Adidas. All right, ready?
They're quite embroiled in the lawsuits right now with Yee.
That's true. They've got their hands full.
Yeah.
A style for every story.
Oh,
which sounds like something we'd come up with at LH.
A style for every story. That's no. I'm gonna really bomb at this game. But I would say
you're stalling.
I am stalling, but I am also thinking. And so, would that be Gap?
Gap. You're like Old Navy. No, it's Levi's.
Huh.
All right, ready?
Okay.
The art of being unique.
No.
Are you getting these at home?
No. I don't know.
He's the discouragement is setting in.
Yes,
folks.
It is.
Take a look.
The art of being unique. Let's say that would be what is Urban Outfitters?
Is this Jeopardy? What is Urban Outfitters? No, it's Cartier.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Cartier.
Cartier.
Yeah.
You should have corrected
Watch
me.
your mouth.
Well, you didn't know it, so. All right, next. We got 3 left. London, England. They got a little lazy with this one and just named a place.
Oh, that's it?
That's their slogan.
London, England. I have no idea.
Burberry.
Yes.
All right, next one.
Okay.
This one has 2, apparently, and they're both in quotes. So I don't know what that means, but it's believe in dreams and believe in love.
Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Yes.
How'd you know that one?
Because that's easy. I don't know.
Okay, last one.
Yes.
This is golden goal. Means if you get this one,
I get them all.
you get them all.
Okay. Come on.
Are you ready? The only way is through.
Jeez. Gucci.
No.
Prada.
Under Armour.
That's lame too. The only
But it
way
kind of makes
is
sense
through.
because you're picturing like a football player or someone like.
Right. I thought it was protect this house. That was the other one?
It was the old one, apparently.
Oh, they've changed it up. They need to
Whispered
change
Becca.
it back.
That was the old one. There's a ghost in the room. Okay. So that will conclude our game. However,
And this episode.
no, not the episode. I do have one last fun tidbit.
Ooh.
In preparation for today's episode on fashion, just because you've been so adamant about this topic, fashion is a point of passion for you.
This is going to hurt, isn't it?
It's gonna hurt. But you've made fun of my fashion all season long, and so I've got some images of former fashion pieces modeled by you. This is one of you as a young child, I believe.
Oh, shoot.
I'd like for you to take a look at that.
Actually, this is Jack.
That's what your mom gave
Well, your mom thinks it's you,
This is Jack. This is terrible. Although, this right here.
so
that-
they've got it on the lower third right now.
Oh, okay.
So they can see it.
So this is an Oshkosh.
A what?
Oshkosh. Little Oshkosh overalls? Yeah.
That's what you named Asher after.
That was.
Hey, Oshkosh. Come here, Bubby. Okay. Well, apparently that's
Yeah,
Jack.
that's Jack. Thanks, Mom. Thanks a lot.
Oh, that's heartwarming.
Yeah, I
isn't it?
can't wait to
All
talk
right.
to her about that.
Well, take a look at this one. Nice little khaki shorts.
Yes.
Long sleeve, very long, boxy flannel short sleeve.
This is when, hey, oversized shorts were in. Plus, if you didn't know, or notice rather, I wore a button down outside of my shorts. Very unique to my golf attire.
What
I
about
think
the
that's
necklace there? What is that?
Those are what you call those for shells.
Shells. Were you a surfer?
I was trying to be.
Your
You've
hair-
never had a shell necklace?
Probably
Yes,
when I
you
was
did.
like 8. Little beach trip.
Okay,
Okay,
moving
we
right
got
on.
one left. This is actually my personal favorite. This comes from a video on my mom's Facebook. So I dug deep for this one, but it is when we released. It's when we opened the Crane Highway campus for Lighthouse.
Yes. Oh no.
Yeah,
It's the hat.
Yes, it's the hat. Take a look. So this is a screen grab from that video.
Oh.
But you guys are standing outside the building. You're putting up the Lighthouse Church sign on the
Yes.
building,
Yes.
and this is you rocking a.
This was a rough season. This is a rough season. I was entrenched in the Lord's work.
You had to put your head down.
Right. Oh, I don't know what I
Would
was
you-
thinking.
would you-
We've all had those days, okay?
How often did you wear that hat?
Pretty often.
Yeah,
That was my whole fall sort of autumn look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I regret that.
You do?
And I can stand by my mistakes.
Okay, that's
I don't
fair.
defend them. Actually, I'm quite ashamed of them. But
But it's just funny to me because you've always been. I just remember my mom. So we used to call you Little Paul after your dad.
right.
And
She still does.
she still does.
Yeah.
She's adamant about that. But she would always talk about how cool and stylish you were, and I'm just looking back like. This is what she was commenting on, because I agree, you are someone who's very ear to the ground in the trends, and you're very trendy and hip, as
Yes.
they say. But my goodness, looking back on that,
There were some mistakes.
there were
Some valley lows. Although I think back in that day, that hat,
It looked cool, probably
It probably did.
back then, but
It
that
probably
speaks
did.
to the fickle nature of fashion.
That is very true.
Fickle fashion, but
And that's why I think that fashion is so intriguing to me, while at the same time it's very, very complex because of how fickle it is. All the more in 2022 when fashion and trends and styles and ins and outs are now moving at an unsustainable rapid pace.
yeah, but
And, it does create a good conversation.
A good conversation. And so to that end, I'm going to transition from the berating you.
Amen. Well, hey,
Although
I deserve it.
I'm very excited about that. But because you have been so excited to talk about fashion for this season, I just kind of want to delve into that a little bit, because it's not like you have a bone to pick with it or something.
No,
or you're
certainly
like,
not.
you know, I've got to talk about this because people. It's like,
Oh,
no,
gosh, no.
no, you're genuinely passionate about it, and so I want to delve into where exactly you're coming from in that excitement.
Yeah, you said this past week that would be one of the questions you raised, and I thought about it as to why I'm so outspoken about it, why at times I can be very forthright in my criticisms of it, and so I would just have our listeners and viewers know that when it comes to the office, the staff, I will up and down you very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So as to see whether or not it's approved or disapproved of what you're rocking.
That's one of the worst things. Is I'll be standing in the hall with you, and I'll just see your eyes go, and I'll immediately go into, I need to leave, fight or flight. I need to go on the offensive and redirect him before he comments on my shoes, or I just need to get out of here because I know a comment's coming. I see those eyes go. It's like
I'm just quickly assessing,
Yeah.
and now, be that everybody is so used to it, I'm not even I don't even keep it veiled any longer.
Yeah.
I just it's coming,
Yeah.
and I don't yet posture myself as one that has the upper hand.
what?
Actually, we just fact checked that, and that came back as
Yeah.
as false. So I think that what's so intriguing to me as it pertains to fashion is I think it's one of the most prominent expressions of a person. And so whether or not they'd like to own that or they don't, even those that don't ascribe to being fashion savvy or engaged or still like, okay, let's do this. Like I take my brother Jack.
Yeah.
Jack still wears the same style that he did in his senior year of high school.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
that's apparently a thing. Some people, they just like,
They find it,
And then-
they fix it, they rock it. They don't make apologies for it.
until they
That-
die. Yep.
That's Jack. Jack, jeans, Vans, T-shirts. That's how he rolls. And he's very, very comfortable in it. Well, what I do know is my sister-in-law, Megan, has tried to update his style from time to time to no avail.
Yeah.
Because he's spring-loaded to go right back to it. But that is Jack's expression, that he likes things very tame, predictable. And so it says a lot about him. Actually, I think it's demonstrative of his personality in a way, which I find is very, very cool. Then there's those that are like on the cutting edge. They got to be in the know of, not only in the know, but they got to rock exactly
Yeah.
what's in right now.
Is that your son Asher?
That would be Ash.
Yeah.
Ash, his fashion game trumps mine all day long when it comes to his affinity for it, how interested he is in it. Like Ash is very unique, but very engaged. He knows who's who in the zoo. I was, while we were playing the game, I was wondering as to whether or not Ash would know all of those, because Ash reads, he reads fashion bloggers, he follows designers. And so now the fashion game has changed quite a bit.
Yep.
And for those of us that are getting older, that wouldn't be me.
Yeah. But just saying.
I just want to be sensitive to those that are.
Yeah.
It can feel a little overwhelming, when it comes to the rapid pace of change and new trends, and then the unique styles that they are. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, it does feel like everything is simply being recycled. Like what's out now will be in then.
Yeah, I haven't quite lived long enough to recognize that. But I do hear that baggy clothes are coming back, which was like
Very
a 90s
much so.
thing, and I hate that.
Yeah. Skinny jeans are out.
I know.
And then there's some things that you're just going to hang on to. But one of the reasons that fashion has changed so rapidly is because now the pace setters aren't what they used to be. Like it used to be that the pace setters were the designers, and what would happen from season to season is that fashion would be initiated with the new line via the runway in which the fashion house would host, and then that would sort of create the forthcoming trend. So they'd always be about a year ahead of it before it hit the streets. Well, now it happens real time.
But there was a predictable cycle
Absolutely. So whatever house there was that initiated the new line, you waited 12 months, and then that line typically was seen on the streets. So it started off with runway shows. Second from that is now fashion is being initiated largely by influencers and celebrities. So that's who's creating the pace. All those celebrities in the past were the first ones to pick up the fashion house's design. But now all these celebrities are getting sort of these niche and like boutique fashion houses. And so you see them so often due to social media that you see them, and then they create the trends. Then you have fashion bloggers that have gotten much more platform than ever before because they're not in the papers or they're not in these obscure writings or like in the Washingtonian. Now you see them whatever you scroll through. And then lastly, you have everyday looks that people of the likes of you
That's what I'm wearing.
and me.
This is the everyday look line from Target.
Yes. Yeah. What is that, a little Massimo? Or Goodfellas?
Goodfella.
I like Goodfella. They make a great everyday look.
Yeah.
And so it has become a much more robust fashion scene out there. And at the end of the day, fashion is an expression of people in their artisan nature. And I believe we all just know this. Let me give some underpinning as to why I think fashion is an expression. Because as image bearers of God, God was the first artisan. So when it comes to his creation, the 6 days in which he created earth and expanse and mammals and amphibians and aggregate culture and the like, the stars, do you realize what an artist he must have been, or is rather, to create it and design it and architect it to his liking?
Yeah.
Like to where he was like, where he would step back in succession and be like, this is good.
Yeah.
Like in and among the Elohim, he showed off and he even impressed himself. I think that is
cool.
So boss. And so us then being the image bearers of God, the crown jewel of his creation, where he created man and woman in his likeness, I think we live with that same artisan nature. And then it comes out in certain ways, whether it's by the aesthetic of your home or whether it's what you like to hang on your walls or how you present, whether it comes by way of cooking. But I also think it comes by way of fashion, that it's sort of an expression of how people sort of demonstrate themselves. And I find that very intriguing.
Yeah, and I think that's very fair because you are such a visual person, whether it is the aesthetic of your spaces and furniture and feng shui, which we talked about. But I think it makes sense that fashion is an extension of that expression.
Yes.
And it is a cool way to get a gauge on reading people, that sort of thing.
Totally.
So where, you mentioned it a little bit, but where exactly does the complexity come from? Is it just the increasing speed of change, or what are you observing there?
Yeah, so I don't want to create a problem where there isn't one, but I do believe that fashion in our present day has become very, very complex. Now, that could be just me. Others their optics may be. I don't see it complex at all or an issue worth worrying over. But I would say that because fashion is at the center of so many things, it has required the need for a degree of unpacking. Like right now, I think some of the complexities are that in eras prior, that fashion was very gender specific and gender centric. And so actually, I was just looking this past week over the first fashion house that was the pace setter, trend setter, if you will. The gentleman's name was Charles Frederick Worth. It was called the House of Worth. Look at this cat.
He looks very fashionable.
Very, very.
Started his up a little.
Started his house in the late 1800s. He was known for being a dressmaker. And he had a great influence in what would become sort of the flapper style of the 1920s and on and on and on. But now, let's fast forward to present. Here we are. We don't know what is gender specific any longer. That now clothing has become very gender neutralized. You have the likes of Harry Styles that's now wearing dresses, saying this should be normalized, things like that. He and along with others have created a degree of complexity. And so now there's clothing lines that are gender neutral. When you think of even present day, how many clothes people have, it's considerably more than eras past. I mean, I remember when Ruth and I bought one of our first homes. We bought this home and then we didn't even move into it. This was back in 2005. Here's just a little sidebar for you. Little sidebar story. This is amazing.
Okay.
Ruth and I bought a home in Glen Burnie.
Yep.
After or during waiting for the closing of that home, a house came on the market right next door to Margarita, my mother-in-law. Ruth wanted nothing more than to live next to her mom. And because I have such incredible in-laws, I was not adverse to that idea.
No.
And so I went along with it. I said, amen. And so this little fixer-upper came on the market, and yet we were closing on another house. We closed on that house. The day following started to put it back on the market. True story. This would only happen to me. Yeah. Beck's looking at me like, you are crazy. True story. We listed it, and in a week, we had it sold, and we sold it for more than we bought it for so as to recoup our closing cost, which was around $10,000. So we put it back on the market for approximately $12,000 more than we purchased it for, and a week later it sold. And so
You're a house flipper.
a house flipper didn't even do a thing to it. I didn't even mop the kitchen floor. We just turned that bad boy around and then started the process of fixing up that little fixer-upper and moved into it. Why did I tell you that?
Why?
I have no idea. But I think it had something to do with this house was old. It was an old little Cape Cod. But the thing that I noticed right off the jump, and many people will know exactly what I'm talking about, the closets were so small. I mean, they were like all together what felt like 5 square feet. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of the closet was the width of the door. It didn't go any deeper to the left or to the right. It had a little rack where you hung your clothes and a little space to put your shoes. And I remember asking my father-in-law, why are these closets so small? And he said, because actually it's only as of recent that people have so many clothes. Back in the day, people would have a single pair of work jeans. They would have a pair of dress slacks. They may have one suit, but you had dress shoes, work shoes, and play shoes. No more. 3 pairs of shoes. You were a boss.
That's why they called them tennis shoes.
That's because they played tennis.
Yeah.
With Billie King Jean. Is that her name? Fact check that. She was the great tennis star. So all that said, now we have closets the size of bedrooms where we're still standing in the middle of going, there's nothing in here to wear, because we feel like we have to be fresh and new and original and on and cutting edge all the time. It can lend itself to a real pressure of feeling like, oh, my style's outdated, or I don't have anything, fresh and present and all this stuff. It used to be a lot more simple when you only had space for 3 pairs of shoes, 3 pairs of pants, and a sports coat. Now the game has been considerably changed, where people have garage full of, sneakerheads are,
mm-hmm.
panning their garage, walls saying, look at me. And so, yeah, there is a complexity. It comes down to gender fluidity. It comes down to the increase of how much people have. It comes down to also how much things cost. Mm-hmm. I mean, now people, you've heard the terminology. And I know this may be objected by some, but there are those out there that are label whores. Yep, I just said it.
That's your favorite word to use on this podcast, actually.
Augustine used it.
Yeah. Now you've got your liberty now.
Yes, thank you. So, people now feel the pressure to rock certain labels. They're known by the labels that they wear.
Good fellow.
A good fellow, that means that you're a baller.
Yeah.
It means that you probably have cash falling out of your pockets.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
No, but I think this whole thing with labels, people now identify or want their socioeconomic status noticed by the labels that they wear. So that adds a whole nother layer of complexity to it. And I think that fashion has, to a degree, really gotten away from us.
Yeah, and the recognition, that's not necessarily anything that's new. I think it's just something that's more seen and visible with the likes of social media and that sort of thing.
Totally. And widely championed.
Yeah.
Where, I know even when I was in high school, you were known by your label and you wanted to rock, certain, whereas, everybody was wearing Michael Jordans, my parents went out and got me Jocks. Have you ever heard of Jocks?
No.
Jocks, for my seasoned listeners out there, Jocks were sold at Tom McCann. Have you ever heard of her? Tom McCann was right on Crane Highway. That's where you bought your shoes from. It was embarrassing, Boots. It was very embarrassing. So, yes. But I wanted a more recognized label, and yet my parents couldn't afford it. And I'm not wounded by it or don't have any lasting trauma because of it. But
well, there's a little edge in your eye that I can see. So
I'm working through it. Okay?
Okay, so the complexity being there's a lot of blurring of lines as far as gender-specific attire, lots of choices, lots of messages that what you wear communicate from status to recognition to
lots of money,
whether you're labeled. So how do we delve into that and simplify it?
Yeah. That I think people need a baseline to operate from. And I know this may sound like I'm imposing or I'm up in your closet, but I'm not. I just feel that at times I want to say to certain sneakerheads and certain people that are dressing way beyond their means, or those that wrongfully emphasize their fashion to an unhealthy point. I like to say it like this, that when it comes to fashion, it's got to be you before them. Meaning that if fashion is an expression and fashion has a degree of art to it, it has to be what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel confident, and what really expresses who you are before you dress for the approval of them. I think a lot of people get caught up in spending more than they have to impress people that they don't even know, to really solicit likes that don't even matter. When it comes to fashion, I'm a very neutral fashion guy, but I dress for me. I dress for what I like, what I find at
sweaters and vests.
Sweaters, vests. I like. And in certain seasons, I like really unique styles. I could be argued to be like a sort of schizophrenic style.
Really unique styles.
Touche.
I love the pose. I'm sorry, but just the
it was. I was doing.
You knew what was happening.
It's like a
You're
shaka brada. See, that's a surfer-esque thing with an
needed
old
the
man.
necklace back. I'm sorry. Back to what you were saying.
Yeah, Boots, don't distract me. I was flowing. But yeah, I would say you before them. So as a person, express yourself and be comfortable in it, but don't get caught up in the present day trend of having to impress people and, up your shoe game every single, week.
Mm-hmm. Now,
unless you're of the likes of DJ Swag.
Yeah, then you can pull it off.
That guy's got a sneaker game next level.
That's true.
But because he can.
Okay, so I don't disagree with that. I guess the question that comes to my mind when it's you before them, it's what I want to wear to make me feel confident or comfortable. You mentioned Harry Styles. His argument would probably be, well, I want to wear a dress because that's how I want to express myself on stage tonight.
Right.
What is your response to that?
No way. I think that now for me, but like I said, I'm confident in my perspective, so I would impose that on others.
Okay.
Meaning that men should not wear dresses, that there should be a distinction between male attire and female attire. I think that is the beauty of fashion, but I believe that when you start to neutralize and create gender neutral sort of acceptability, it gets complex and it gets really weird. I don't like that. Now, that's me personally. I don't like that at all. I don't like seeing men wearing dresses. I don't like seeing, men over feminized. I don't like to see certain lines crossed when it comes to fashion. And I know that there is a myriad of opposing views, and right now I'm probably offending a lot of people, but I stand by it. When it comes to the complexity within fashion, I believe we've caused it, and I'm going to be a proponent for course correcting it. But when I speak to you being expressive and comfortable, I'm speaking at the baseline level of, one, you not dressing for the approval of others. I think a lot of times trends are started because people are trying to be outlandishly unique. Mm-hmm. I don't even think that's their personal expression. I believe that's ultimately their personal deficit. So they're trying to be something that they're not, so as to win the approval of others when in fact they're not even comfortable.
So they look unique. It's not about expressing.
And so then that becomes a whole trend and style in and of itself.
Yep.
And so it only compounds the complexity therein. So maybe I could offer this, because I know that is a lightning rod of a statement and a dividing line, of which, fair enough. But as a follower of Jesus, though it be you before them, I believe that what trumps that is when I dress, it's always him before me. Meaning that my chief purpose in life is that I'm a representative of Jesus. As an ambassador called to reflect the goodness of my King and the kingdom of which I've been grafted into. And so when I dress, I don't want to dress in a way that's distracting, that would take any reflection from him or cause any curiosity of those wondering, why is he doing that? Or now I don't mind people going, why would he wear that?
Yeah, I've wondered that about you a few times. Some of the pants you've worn on Easter.
Hey, man, I was just flipping through my old Easter my Easter outfits recently. I'm thinking about bringing some.
You're already planning, huh?
Already planning. Well, actually, I was looking at them more through the lens of Christmas Eve. Come on, somebody. Yeah.
That's true.
There's a versatility in those, Easter and Christmas. And yeah, I think some old pants are going to get ready to make their debut once again.
Hope not.
I can't wait. I got some things in the lab. Anyway, back to the subject matter. I think that we are called to be people that reflect Jesus first and foremost, even before ourselves. Mm-hmm. So what that means is I don't wear anything that would cause people to
stumble.
Yes. So my jeans aren't too tight. JK. But I do think that you have to be very conscious of as a follower of Jesus, of which your attire is, so as not to raise more flags than you ought.
Can you unpack that at all? Like, what is so I agree with your premise that I'm primarily an ambassador of Jesus. I represent him. So my self-expression of my artistic, style that I demonstrate through the clothes that I wear, that needs to be under the umbrella of I'm an ambassador of Jesus. I represent him.
Absolutely.
So I can express myself as long as it represents him well.
Yeah.
What can you unpack how to represent him well in the clothes that you wear, I guess?
Yeah. I feel like your clothes should have a degree of class and decency to them.
Top hats.
Yes, 100%. And canes and fine tailored jackets. Along with class and decency, I think for both men and women nowadays, there needs to be a modesty that you're not revealing too much or drawing too much attention to parts that would either raise questions, cause people to stumble, be appearing as self-promoting, things like that. So that would fit in the category of modesty. I also think that it has a lot to do with what you promote. So when it comes to certain labels, when it comes to certain companies, when it comes to certain advertisements, I'm very conscientious of those logos, those labels, and who I stand behind, because I want to make sure they're in alignment with my values and my worldview and things like that. And so I look at my fashion through that lens, making sure that, and I keep my fashion to a degree neutral. I like timeless pieces. I'm a classic dresser, boots. And so when it comes to that, I think those categories, class and decency, modesty, and what you're marketing.
Messaging.
No, better word than marketing would be messaging. Yes.
Okay. So you before them.
And him before you.
And I before E. No, I think that helps simplify it. We don't need to go into.
No, if we delve any further, then we're just going to start firing off.
Yeah.
Lightning.
You already did that, but we would start rambling about like turtlenecks and
and crew necks and sweater vests
and Goodfellow.
I love Goodfellow. I stand behind that. And if any executive from Target is listening, we will rock your gear.
Yeah, I'll wear a red polo.
Of course. Hey, of course you would. Of course you would. And with that, friend, for your sake, why don't we bring this in for a landing?
Let's land that sucker.
No, hey, thanks a lot for allowing us to have a fun, yet engaging, but yet passionate conversation around a matter that probably very few people care about.
Yeah. But it was near and dear to your heart.
Yes.
That's enough for me. And that's
I wanted
enough.
to scratch the itch.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
We're there, which means I get to choose the topics for season 2.
Yes.
Which we're very excited about. Season 2 will be launching in about a month. About a month, so we're going to take some time off. But I'm excited. We're going to make a few tweaks in how we do season 2.
Yes, we are. Might add a third mic.
And we're going to add a third mic.
Oh, okay.
Going to add a third mic.
I kept that sort of close to my chest and but you went ahead and okay. We're going to add a third mic.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are adding a third mic. No, because that's part of unpacking season 2 a little bit. Is we're going to have, not every week, but we're going to have the occasional guest.
Yes.
So I'm really interested in inviting other people into this very strange dynamic that we have created over the course of season 1.
Oh, they're going to love it, Boots.
Yeah, but we do want to hear, as we kind of plan that season out, what our listeners, dare I say, Simplexiters, what our Simplexiters want to hear us discuss.
Yes.
Some complex matters, some fun
and
matters.
And actually, there are some suggestions that have already come in that I am excited to work with you on, that I haven't even told you about.
Ooh,
yeah.
Fashion 2.0. But yeah, feel free to let us know what some of those topics might be. You can follow us on Instagram at Simplexity Podcast. Shoot us a DM.
Yeah.
Or you can leave the comment on our YouTube videos. I guess you can leave a review with the subject request.
Providing that it is only 5-star.
Yeah. A 5-star review.
Anything less than, you keep it to yourself.
A 5-star review buys you a topic that we discuss.
That's good.
Not really. Don't want to be accused of false advertising. I don't know. We might consider that. Subject to review. But I've had a lot of fun this season, my friend.
As have I. This has been a ball, and I think it's only going to get better. Thank you for those of you that have been listening and supporting. We love you all so much. Can't wait to see you back here January the 2nd.